All of you, good afternoon. Hi Gaurav, good afternoon. Hello Sushma, good afternoon. Nidhi, Rakesh, Sunaina. Okay, so the population topic, I will need 1 or 2 more sessions. We'll do it as an extra class. We'll start with settlement geography. This is the new unit. And we have some of you online, offline have joined us as a part of the new batch. And this cycle continues. Right? So, we're starting with settlement geography. Yeah, the older students, you have the extra class at 3 o'clock today. Okay, I need to finish it off. Not a very big topic, but I must finish off. We're starting with settlement geography now. Those who have joined me from today onwards, just a clarification here. Your geography optional, right? We have 2 broad parts. We have geography of the natural world, and we have geography of the man-made world. We call this geography as physical geography, and we call this as a human geography. A human geography, the important sections are population geography, settlement geography. We also have economic geography and certain things around planning, development, and so on. So what we do is we start the course from topics which are not linked to other topics. So most of us have an idea about geography as study of landforms, climate, study of agents of erosion, river, waves. That's one part of geography. That's the physical part of geography, and actually in our syllabus, that's a very small part. Okay. The bigger parts are the human aspects. So we started one batch with population geography a month ago, and we are starting with settlement geography from today onwards. So leave the sequence to me. We'll run it as a relay. Okay. So that's how we have settlement geography as your this topic now. In settlement geography, there are 4 topics which are very critical, which are the more important parts. Jaise ke they ask you about urbanization problems, urban planning. They have questions around morphology. Morphology basically means how a settlement is organized. Okay, it's a very popular question. They have lot of questions around something called as the concept of a city region, urbanization and urban problems and urban planning is one large area they ask. They ask questions on morphology. The word morphology means something around how settlements are organized how the layout exists, इस पे काफी questions आते हैं. They ask questions around the concept of city region. I'll come back afterwards on this. And there's one more topic called as classification of settlements. So broadly, these 4 parts, I'll give you the syllabus in detail. So keep these points in mind. And before I start off, settlement means what? As in where people settle, okay, where people stay, live, work, they make the houses, where people come together, interact. So settlements essentially are, okay, villages, they are towns, they are cities, they are the more modern urban complexes. The settlement means this. Okay, we have smaller ones, we call those as hamlets. Hamlets are very small villages, 10, 15, 20 families live together. You know what a village is largely. Okay, it's a place where, you know, we have farming, where the society is more traditional, the society lacks infrastructure. The typical village we understand. And towns, cities, large urban complexes, they will have a scale of development, they'll have roads, railways, you know, shopping complexes. So you understand what this means. So settlement geography is about this. And one reminder here, urbanization is a very important topic in GS paper 1 and also in GS paper 2. A lot of poverty, inequalities, slums, okay, they are part of paper 2. Discussion on urbanization, urban society, they are part of paper 1 GS. Okay, so not everything, but almost I think 20–30% of what I will teach here is part of GS paper 1 and also GS paper 2. Hi Vedika, Ragini. Yeah, hi Rahul, good afternoon. So I just introduced the idea, what I'll cover and why I'm covering this. Your reference book for this is, some of you have the book already, Human Geography textbook by Majid Hussain. You can buy 5th or 6th edition. I think the market has the 6th edition now. You can buy that. That's one reference book. The second reference book is Models in Human Geography. This also is by Majid Hussain. There is one edition by that. Okay. Old, new doesn't matter. Then you have the book Indian Geography textbook, Indian Geography, Geography of India by D.R. Khuller. These 3 books will be important, and all the 3 are must buy. Some of you already have this, others please get hold of this. And I always recommend this is not your first preference, but if you can have, it will be nice. We have this book, which is Made a Simple Series, Volume 2. This is by Rupa Publication. It's a nice, good book. आप अपने आप ही देखना largely. But these books, I do help you, some pages, some paragraphs. I initiate it. And I always maintain this, that none of these books, okay, have to be read thoroughly. Don't read these books page by page. These are references, some paragraphs, some pages, some diagrams, some data is important. Okay, don't end up reading the whole book. Okay, if you have time later on, you may, but abhi hum discourage karenge. Okay, so the topic I have told you what the topic means and what the books are. Write down the syllabus of this topic, please, of this unit. By the way, when I am covering this unit, I will cover paper 1 and also paper 2 together. So we had one, for the new students, we had one short session of orientation. Some of you may have missed it. So I've given the list to you, paper 1, paper 2. In paper 1, this is the unit 8. Okay. Let me take it out for you. If you have a syllabus, you can refer along with me, otherwise you can take it down. This is section B, third unit, or in general, it is the 8th unit. It is along with population geography का second part है. Oh, so confused. It's playing up. Something amiss. कोई नहीं, आप लोग लिख लो. Write down the topics of Gaurav. You got a negative response. What does that mean? I said something. I don't do that generally. क्या मैंने बोल दिया ऐसे? You can take my phone number. That's not a problem. 9868424660. Or no response. So it's negative response. Okay, I got the point. Telegram. Don't do Telegram. No, right? मैं कहाँ देखूँ? WhatsApp में. Anybody wants to connect with me? Telegram channels are there, but interaction with me, I'll suggest do on the WhatsApp. Leave a message, I can get back to you. Okay, so fine, that's done. So syllabus likho aap, write down syllabus. Syllabus is types and patterns of rural settlements. Types and patterns of rural settlements. A hierarchy of urban settlements. Types and patterns of rural settlements. Hierarchy of urban settlements. Then we have urban morphology. Urban morphology. Concepts of primate city and rank size rule. Concepts of primate city and the concept of rank size rule. Rank size rule. Environmental issues in rural settlements. Environmental issues in rural settlements. Then functional classification of towns. Functional classification of towns. Then the sphere of urban influence. The sphere of urban influence, then rural urban fringe, rural urban fringe, satellite towns. The next topic is satellite towns. The next is problems and remedies of urbanization. Problems and remedies of urbanization. And then sustainable development of cities. Sustainable development of cities. ये पेपर 1 का सिलेबस है. I'll suggest, yes, I'll suggest please write these down. Okay, I've seen that in the previous batches when I used to tell them the syllabus, most of them never wrote it down. So this time onwards, I'm insisting कि syllabus लिख लो, know what the topics are, and you must visit syllabus as frequently as possible. Okay, so that's paper 1 syllabus. Paper 2 का लिखो. Write about the paper 2 syllabus. Paper 2 is types, patterns, and morphology of types, pattern, and morphology of rural settlements. Types, pattern, and morphology of rural settlements. Then morphology of Indian cities. Morphology of Indian cities. Then urban development. Urban development. Functional classification of Indian cities. Functional classification of Indian cities. The next one is conurbations. Conurbations. Conurbations and metropolitan regions. Conurbations, C-O-N-U-R-B-A-T-I-O-N-S, conurbations and metropolitan regions. Then we have urban sprawl. Urban sprawl. Next, slums and problems. Urban sprawl, S-P-R-A-W-L, urban sprawl. Then slums and problems. Town planning. Urban problems and remedies. Slums and problems, town planning, then urban problems and planning. And remedies, yes, urban problems and remedies, correct. So if you look at your syllabus, I said, यही 4-5 main themes हैं. Okay. The main themes that you must study are urbanization, okay, urban problems, urban planning, morphology, city region classification. Maybe you can add one more word here broadly. It's about patterns, patterns and types, which partly is classification, it's partly also morphology. So broadly syllabus has these 5 units: urbanization problems, urban planning, urbanization process, morphology, city region, classifications, and then patterns and types of settlements. Okay. Now, there are urbanization or settlement geography topics also in paper 1 unit 10. in paper 1, ये repeat है actually. They've added topics like central place theories, Kristaller and Losch. In this, they also have, a primate city, rank size rule. So just mention within brackets, write down that theories of settlements, like theories of settlements, like a central place theory, a rank, a size rule, primate city. They are also mentioned in Unit 10, Paper 1. Kristaller's theory, which is central, there are two people here. This theory was given by two people, that we know of at least. One is Kristaller और एक है August Losch. So they have mentioned this in your Unit 10 of Paper 1 also. Okay. And every year, settlement geography has 2 or 3 questions, and most questions are very applied ones. In fact, in Paper 1, Human Geography, for some time, they asked some tricky questions in this unit also. Okay, so it's an important topic. So what I'm saying is that this settlement geography is an important topic. It's an important unit. You can expect 2 to 3 questions. Approximately कुल मिला के 20-30 marks can be from settlement geography. Okay. So now, to give you some idea about the type of questions asked. Okay. Write the questions, please, all of you. These are some things, I have not done like this earlier. Then I realized that if I do not make you write the questions or syllabus, most of you never see also. Okay, so we have learned it the hard way. Yeah, write down. Nothing is for hearing and smelling alone. Okay, if you like the smell of the questions, nice, but I want to see it in your notebook. Okay, so take down some questions of Paper 1. Some question Paper 1. 2024 में they asked, Paper 1 में they asked urbanization process is particularly pronounced in Asia and Africa. Urbanization process is particularly pronounced in Asia and Africa, where too many residents grapple with extreme poverty, exclusion, vulnerability, and marginalization, where many urban residents grapple with extreme poverty, exclusion, vulnerability, and marginalization. Discuss. This is the 20-mark question. एक दो बार question पढ़ो and let's see if you understand this question or not. It's a very applied question. It's impossible somebody would have taught you with these words, but idea होता है हमें. Okay, that if you look at Asia and Africa, you find lot of urban population has problems of poverty, problems of discrimination, problems of housing, problems of amenities. They are vulnerable to conflicts, vulnerable to problems of access to basic amenities. Okay, and discuss. जब वो discuss use कर रहे हैं, tell us why is it, tell us where is it, tell us what type of cities have more about this and what can you do. Okay, there's an example of an applied question. Okay, एक और question लिखो. CBD, Central Business District, CBD are in decline. CBD are in decline as the economic core of CBD are in decline as the economic core of metropolitan cities. They decline as the economic core of metropolitan cities. Critically examine. Critically examine. So every city or most cities, they have a central place where lot of commercial functions are performed. There will be a large market. Okay, we call those areas as CBDs, Central Business District. Just say for Delhi, maybe the Connaught Place or Rajiv Chowk acts like a CBD. But say in South Delhi, if you have been that part, the Southex market is like a CBD. In Mumbai, South Mumbai, Nariman Point is something like a CBD. For Chennai, maybe the Anna Salai Road, okay, along with the area, the old area tha, part of Triplicane, if you know, that area may be a CBD. For Bangalore, MG Road types could be a CBD, or Indranagar could be a CBD. Was asking us, in most cities, the central locations are now declining. Okay, tell us why, how. Okay, so again a very applied question. This was the 10-mark question. एक और question लिखो. What is complementary region? What is a complementary region? With reference to hierarchy of settlements, describe the different types of complementary regions. Describe the different types of complementary regions as proposed by Christaller. As proposed by Christaller, Christaller, Christaller. So this I will have to teach you. I can't explain right now. It is something called as the central place theory se पूछा है, and this is a 20-mark question. So 24 last year, they had 50 marks paper 1 में, okay, from settlement geography. Okay, 2023 का लिखो. In 23, one question is, rural settlements are expressions of, basic relationships between, they are the expressions of basic relationships between human beings and their physical and social environment. Human beings and their physical and social environment. Discuss. I mean, it's impossible. This sentence is taught to you. But again, if you understand the basics, you can handle it. So villages where we live in, the type of farming we have, the type of houses we build, the type of markets we have, the type of societies we have, okay, how it is the consequence of man interacting with the nature. Okay. So for example, if it is a fertile area, you'll have more agricultural land. If it is not fertile area, you might have more grazing lands. If it is a wet region, the houses will have higher floors. If it is a wet region, the roofs will be thatched roofs. Agar dry region hoga, the houses will have flat roofs. So these are examples to tell us, yes, in the villages, you can see this man-environment relationship very well established. I read about that. This was again a 20-mark question. Okay. Another question. Examine Losch's model. L-O-S-C-H. Examine Losch's model of central places. Why it has been criticized? Losch model of central places and why it has been criticized. Again a 20. This is again from the CPT theory. A 20-mark question. So I will not discuss this right now. Then you have another question. Explain the problems and the prospects of. Explain the problems and the prospects of urban expansion. Urban expansion in the context of urban fringe. The problems and prospects of urban expansion in the context of urban fringe in the developed and developing nations. In the developed and developing nations. In the syllabus, I gave a point to you, which is rural urban fringe. Syllabus mein hai, usse linked hai. Okay. This is again is a 20-mark question. This again is a 20-mark question. So 23 mein 60 marks from settlement geography. Okay. Let me give you some more questions. I'm sticking with paper 1. Twenty-two. Examine morphological factors. Examine morphological factors that influence the origin and the growth of towns. The morphological factors that influence the origin and the growth of towns. A 10-mark question. Then we have overcrowding leads to shortage of housing. Overcrowding leads to shortage, a chronic problem of shortage of housing. Overcrowding leads to chronic problem of shortage of housing in Indian cities. Explain with examples. Explain with examples. ये भी 22 का था, 15 marks. So 22 में you had 25 marks a question. Then in 21 we had one question. Small number of megacities. Small number of megacities are playing a key role in. Small number of megacities are playing a key role in global economics and culture. Small number of megacities are playing a key role in global economics and culture. Okay, so some megacities like Shanghai, like Tokyo, like New York, like Delhi, Mumbai. Okay. Big cities like Madrid, big ones like London. These are 10, 15 cities that are playing a role in whatever we see in the world. Explain that. How, why, examples. Okay. So you see one trend, no? सारे questions में I can try the answer even with my general GS knowledge also. It's not hardcore technical, but the trick is how to bring geography inside this. How to make the answer look like a geography optional answer. Okay. Anyways, this was a 15-mark question. The last question I'm giving you, okay, is write down. Discuss the concept of urban resilience. Discuss the concept of urban resilience in sustainable development. In sustainable development of towns and cities in India. The concept of urban resilience for sustainable development of towns and cities in India. This was a question in 2020 and it was a 20-mark question. So from 20-mark question, one question. Last year they've asked as many as almost 40, 50, 60 marks question. Okay. ये paper 1 में है. Let's look up paper 2 once quickly. I've given you 3-4 years question of paper 1. Let's look up the questions of paper 2. Paper 2. 24 wale questions. Oh, you have some doubts. I didn't see your comments here. In 22, rank size rule. Yes, Atul can also add that, yes. I have not given all the questions to you. I just gave you some questions to have an idea. Paper 2 में लिखो, what are the major regional rapid transit systems? What are the major regional rapid transit systems developed in India? कितना applied है देख रहे हो? It's all about what we are doing in India. What are the major regional rapid transit systems? What do you mean by transit systems? The systems of communication. Rapid transit systems are like expressways, like the freight corridor. Okay, we're having Delhi, Mumbai, okay, Delhi, Kolkata, and all that. We have, okay, corridors like your bullet train corridor. So when people can move rapidly, what are the major regional transit systems? So expressways and metro connectivity hai. Metros linking Delhi mein, Delhi Meerut, Delhi Jaipur, probably eventually, Delhi Sonipat. The same connectivity will have across cities of India. So metro connectivity, expressways, okay, dedicated freight corridors are examples of rapid transit systems. It's asked, how are urban problems being addressed by them? How do these corridors address the urban problems of India? So urban problems किस तरह के होते हैं? One problem, of course, is congestion problems. One problem of urban areas is there is lack of employment generation as much. One problem of urban areas is lack of planning. So haphazard construction hai. So how does making a railway line, how does making a metro line, how does making a expressway solve these problems? That's one question. And this question was a 15-mark question, 1-5. The next question is, how can morphology of Indian towns be described historically? How can morphology of Indian towns be described historically? Discuss the major features of discuss the major features of first planned city in India. Discuss the major features of the first planned city in India after independence. I repeat the question. How can morphology of Indian towns be described historically? Morphology का मतलब क्या है? The layout of a town. Okay, the type of roads, where we have markets, where do we have residential areas, where do we have parks, what type of economic activities. So what was the nature in ancient India? What was the nature in medieval India? What was the nature in the British India? What has been the nature after independence? What's the nature in recent times? Historically, कैसे change हुआ बताओ? Like in ancient India, the morphology was around temples. Okay, temple town Madurai, temple town Kashi Varanasi, the temple town of Puri, a temple town, okay, where the temple is the center. In the medieval times, the city grew around forts. So we have the Red Fort, around that city of Delhi comes up. We have the Agra Fort, around that the city of Agra comes up. Okay. With the British times, they add railway colonies, they add civil lines, they add cantonment areas. Modern cities of India, suburban planning, there are urban villages like Noida, like Bandra, like Vashi. So give us historical basis of how these planning has changed. And then it says, discuss the features of the first planned city in India, referring to Chandigarh and also Delhi. Delhi was not entirely after independence, but it can also consider Delhi as one of the first ones. The Lutyens' Delhi, it happened. And then, of course, Chandigarh is considered to be a more resolute example of city planning after independence. Uske baare mein likho. This was a 20-mark question. Then we have, these were the two questions in Settlement Geography 2024 mein. In 2023 likho questions. The questions of Settlement Geography in 2023, 2024. 24. A large number of Indian cities, have a complex morphological characteristics. Large number of Indian cities have complex morphological characteristics due to their historical evolution. Due to their historical evolution. Elucidate. A large number of Indian cities have complex morphological characteristics due to their historical evolution. Elucidate. Basically, look at Delhi. Delhi has elements of medieval India. Delhi has elements of British India. Delhi has elements of planned post-independence India. And Delhi also has elements of modern urbanization. Noida, Delhi mein ab bana. Okay. Before that, you had Red Fort, you had Rajiv Chowk. So this makes Delhi complex. Okay. Explain this. वैसे the morphology of Mumbai in the ancient times में Mumbai था ही नहीं, it was a small fishing village. In the times of Peshwas, it was again a village. Pune was a center. Then comes the times of British, the Mumbai port, and some planning happened. Post-independence, we added, for example, Navi Mumbai features. So every city has complexities because historically they have changed. Explain that to us. Okay, again example of an applied question. एक और question लिखो. This question was a 20 mark question, the one I gave you right now. Another question is, yeah, 24 ka. Urban built environment, नहीं, this is 23 का, sorry. या 24 में क्या बताया आपको? Yeah, this was 23 question. I gave this question of complex features is 23 ka question, and this one I'm reading out right now. Urban built environment in big cities, creates key changes in biophysical character of the landscape. Urban built environment in big cities create key changes in the biophysical character of the landscape. Discuss. This was a 10 mark question. Ab dekho, forget syllabus, okay? What you're saying is, first tell me what you mean by biophysical character of a city or of any place. What's bio and physical? Physical means which exists in reality, physical existence. Biophysical का मतलब क्या होगा? Forest. Biophysical is, okay, your water bodies and the life in that. Biophysical is the trees. Biophysical is the wildlife. Biophysical is the birds varieties. So when you make a large city, when you make a large urban complex, how do these things change? How does the forest change? How does the river change with its aquatic life forms? Agar coastal areas hain, how does the biophysical nature of the coast change? For example, how do coral reefs change? How do mangrove forests change? Okay, so large urban cities, how they impact the biophysical character of a particular landscape. So mangroves deforestation, coral reefs destruction, the loss of natural forest, the change of water systems, the change of lake systems, if you know something called as eutrophication. An example of a question that links urbanization, land use change with environmental problems. Okay, so this was a 10 mark question. These two questions. एक और क्वेश्चन था, the poor quality of urban planning in India, is a huge constraint in realizing the true economic potentials of urbanization. Is a huge constraint in realizing the true economic potentials of urbanization. Critically examine. This is a 15 mark question. Because of poor planning, our urban areas are unable to benefit from the economic potentials. They're unable to benefit from developmental prospects. Poor planning, we destroy our rivers. Poor planning, there's congestion, lot of loss of because of traffic problems. Poor planning can lead to more poverty and lack of amenities, and that impacts labor skill force. Poor planning, pollution problems, it impacts health, and that also impacts our economic development. Poor planning can lead to floods, okay, landslides, earthquake vulnerability, and how does that impact? So again, you see 3-4 things, right? Most questions of India or in urbanization are around, I said, morphology. You have seen questions around urban problems and questions around urban planning. Up listing karo. I have given you a list of almost 10-15 questions. See how many of them are from these three. Barring one or two, baki sari isi mein hai, right? And the questions are very applied in nature. The questions demand that give examples from your experience, the cities that you know, give us your opinion. These are not typically geography bookish answers will do here. आपको apply करना पड़ेगा. Okay? Anyways, so you have some idea about the questions of. So my suggestion to all of you is, this is something you should do as frequently as possible. Go back to your room today and list down all the questions, even if we give you booklets. By the way, I hope you all have got the copy of your PYQs now. The new students, I'll again share the booklets on your Telegram groups. We'll put it up on the dashboard again. All of you are given printed or compiled PYQs. The mistake people do is, they don't study the questions. When I say study का मतलब क्या होता है? Questions कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? What questions are being repeated? What questions are applied? Which type of questions I must focus on more? That's called as studying PYQs. Initially, you'll not make much sense of it, but even then try to study. It's like, I have no background, say in literature, but give me a question paper of 20 years. If I sit down and study it, I can tell you कि questions कैसे आ रहे हैं. So all of you, as an exercise, go back to your room and write the questions of the PYQs. Don't just see the booklet. Open the booklet, see the question and copy it down. जब लिखोगे ना आप, you'll have a sense of what questions are repeated, what patterns are emerging, what topics are more important. ठीक है? So you have some sense of that. Let's start off now. So I'm starting off with paper 1 and paper 2 together. Okay, so I'll not differentiate right now. So, a settlement geography. Okay. First point, why a settlement geography is a part of geography. Why settlement geography is a part of geography. Okay. So when I say geography, what do I study? In geography, I study patterns of any phenomena on Earth's surface. कोई चीज का pattern है. The rainfall pattern, more rainfall, less rainfall, heavy rainfall, light rainfall, pattern of forest, dense forest, okay, monsoon forest, deciduous forest, evergreen forest. What is the pattern? Pattern of, say how the oceans move, the patterns of how the winds move. Anything which has patterns is part of geography. Okay. Second, geography studies man-environment relationship. How does man interact with the environment? I interact with the environment, we have agricultural land. Interact with the environment, we have the industries. Interaction with the environment, we have geopolitics. I make ports. I colonize islands. So anything which has man-environment relationship is geography. Geography is also about human problems, because most problems are consequence of man-environment relationship. Because I use the water wrongly, I have water problems. Because I cut the trees too much, I have problems of deforestation. Because I construct wrongly, I have problems of landslides. So geography studies human problems, and because we have problems, we also study solutions. So broadly, these are the themes of geography: studying patterns of any phenomena, studying man-environment relationships, studying the problems because of the interaction, and the solutions. We say that settlements क्या होते हैं? Settlements are where people live. Settlements are where people live. Okay. Plus, it also includes how we live. How we live, in what type of houses, how we live, with what type of occupations. Okay. Settlements is about this: where people live and how people live. So settlements includes, I said, hamlets. Settlements are villages. Settlements are towns and cities. Okay. So if I look at this scope of study, settlements as where people live, settlements as how people live, okay, studying hamlets, studying villages and towns and cities, settlements are the best examples of man-environment relationship. They are one of the best examples of man-environment relationship. Okay. You see this relationship. ये relationship है, आप कहाँ दिखता है? Where do you see it? You see this relationship in the type of houses we make, in terms of how the land is used. We see the relationship in terms of the shapes of the settlements. Agar river hoga, the settlements are linear villages. If there is a central large well, the settlements are circular settlements. So settlements are one of the best examples of man-environment relationship, in terms of the shape of environment, in terms of the houses we make, in terms of how land is used. Okay. Settlements therefore are important part of cultural landscapes. They're important part of cultural landscapes. What is the landscape? Landscape is the land around us, the mountain around us, the plains around us, the plateaus around. Any landscape का मतलब क्या होता है? Landscape is how does the land around us look like? In short, landscape is the environment we live in. When I say cultural landscape, it is the landscape modified by human beings. Okay. So cultural landscape में दो elements होता है. There is a natural element and there is also a man-made aspect. So we say settlements are the best examples of cultural landscapes. Settlements have a natural aspect to them. Natural, the slopes. Natural, the type of soil. Natural, the type of geology. Natural, the type of water bodies. And on that man makes houses. On that man has land use. So cultural landscape and cultural landscape is an important theme in geography. Why is settlement geography part of geography? Settlements are best examples of man-environment relationships. Settlements are important cultural landscapes. Therefore, settlements are part of geography. And then settlements, their shapes, okay, their distributions. Settlements, their shape and distributions are not random. Settlements, the shapes and the distributions are not random. कि कहीं पर कोई बना देता है, ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. Like any shape, ऐसा नहीं है. There is some pattern, there's some logic in why Mumbai becomes a port. There's some logic in why the northern plains has so many villages. There's some logic in the type of houses we make in the hills. There's a pattern to it. Okay. Settlements, the shape and the distribution are not random. They are part of a pattern in the form and their distribution. They are part of a pattern in their form, in the shapes, and in their distribution. Okay. So, why is settlement geography part of geography? Because settlement geography are best examples of man-environment relationship. Settlements are one examples of cultural landscape. Settlements are not random. Settlements are part of some pattern in their forms and their distribution. And settlements are part of human problems and include the importance of planning. जहां पर human problems आएगा और planning आएगा, वहां पर भी you'll have geography. Problem of floods, geography. Problems of landslides, geography. Problems of poverty, geography. Problem of conflicts, again geography. Settlements are part of human problems and include the importance of planning. Okay, planning for hill regions, planning for conflicts, planning for droughts, planning for floods, planning for earthquakes. Okay, because most of these are linked to the earth itself. Is it okay, all of you here? Why is settlement geography a part of geography? Okay, let's move on. All of you, the new students, are you all keeping pace with me? Some of you will struggle initially. Okay, I will not dictate everything to you, but I'll try ensuring that you write down whatever I say. I'll repeat, I'll dictate, I'll write down. So be alert. And these topics are not something I must dictate right now. A general introduction of the concept of settlements. Okay. If you miss out, raise your hand, I'll repeat. Okay, don't keep quiet there. Okay, fine, let's come back. Now, rural settlements versus urban settlement. ये fundamental division है. In settlement geography, the fundamental division is what is a rural settlement and what is an urban settlement. So give a heading, a rural settlement versus urban settlements. Okay, a village versus a city, a village versus a town. So what's a village? What's a village? Villages are relatively smaller. Villages have relatively higher dependence on agriculture. Villages have relatively poorer levels of infrastructure. Villages will have lesser levels of human and economic development. Villages are relatively more traditional societies. So at a very, very high level, I mean, I hope you realize this, that if I am mentally differentiating a city and a village, यही points आते हैं. Village कहते ही you can think of agriculture and farmers. Villages, the houses are not as large, as huge, tall buildings नहीं होंगे. Villages, the construction material is very local constructions. So they are smaller in size. They have high dependence on agriculture. Keep writing, please. They have higher agriculture economy. They have relatively poorer levels of infrastructure, roads, railway, okay, power, water supply. Okay, so all of those infrastructure is not as developed. They have lower levels of human development, lower levels of education, lower levels of health, lower levels of economic trade, lower levels of money management or banking. They have lower levels of human development and economic development. And I said they're relatively more traditional societies. Okay. In comparison, urban areas are larger. Urban areas have lesser proportion of agriculture. They have more of industries and they will have more of services sector. You'll find more people working in the services sector and more people working in the industrial manufacturing sector. They are larger, they have less proportion of agriculture economy, they are more of industries, they are more of services. Urban areas have better infrastructure, urban areas have higher human development, more education, better health amenities. They also have a higher economic development, more income, more savings, more investments, better financial health of urban areas. And of course, they are relatively more modern, they are more cosmopolitan. This word basically means lot of varieties of cultures hote hain. I forgot one word. Villages are generally more homogeneous. Villages are relatively more culturally and economically more homogeneous. They have got more similarities within. Same religion, the same caste, the same activity of agriculture, same farming, the same type of crops. So villages have more cultural and economic homogeneity, whereas urban areas will have more diversity. इसी diversity को culture में बोलते हैं cosmopolitan. A very common phrase many of us may have come across, that urban areas are cosmopolitan, means they are culturally very diverse. Language, religion, ethnicity, races, okay, very diverse range of cultures. This is a very high level of differentiation. But what you find is that the above features are not always true, because say if you compare a village of UP, it's much larger than many urban areas of Europe. Okay, one village of UP in terms of population, in terms of area is much larger. Okay, Frankfurt, okay, compare that with any village of UP, it almost looks not populated. So this size thing again is subjective idea. And if you look at India, for example, or developing say countries in particular, the quality of life in urban areas is also poor. You have got more poverty, you'll have crowding, in fact, very ill-managed roads, very bad infrastructure, you'll have higher problems of homelessness. So this is a very general one, okay, but in reality, okay, many urban areas are relatively less developed. Okay, they may have poverty and infrastructure problems. Sometimes more than those in villages. But in reality, I said, urban areas can be relatively less developed. The quality of roads of urban areas can be poor. The quality of power supply can be poor. The quality of water supply can be poor. Urban areas can be relatively less developed. Urban areas, they may have poverty and infrastructure problems, sometimes more than that of the villages. Okay. The villages, sometimes the villages can have better life quality than the urban areas. So generalize and say all villages are backward, all villages, okay, have poverty. ऐसा नहीं है. Urban areas can have more poverty, urban areas can have more, okay, stress on infrastructure. Okay, write down. In developing countries, urbanization is referred to as, in developing countries, urbanization is referred to as dysfunctional urbanization. Dysfunctional urbanization. मतलब क्या है कि urban areas में लोग रहते तो हैं, people live in urban areas, but it is not actually urban quality of life. Okay. In developing countries, there is lot of dysfunctional, okay, urbanization. This means, okay, housing problems. This means higher poverty. This means poor quality of life. This means unemployment. Okay. Unemployment and poor economic avenues. Okay. This also means conflicts. So if you look at this, it becomes difficult for us to differentiate. Write down. Next, write down that in many instances, rural areas have better quality of life with better amenities. In many instances, rural areas have better quality of life with better amenities, such as the urban villages, I mean, if you have seen how suburban area grows, Delhi is a proper city. For a long time, even now, comparatively, Noida is an urban village. And the quality of life of Noida is far better than the life quality of main city. So, ऐसे में क्या हो रहा है ना? To differentiate a village from a city becomes difficult then. Therefore, there are complexities in how we differentiate a village from a city. How we differentiate a village from a city. Okay. In India, we follow two definitions of what is an urban area. In India, we follow two definitions of what is an urban area. One is statutory towns. Just talking about a village as a backward region, a village as a small area, a village as agriculture is not right. Okay. So India mein we follow two definitions of कि कौन सा एरिया अर्बन एरिया है. Okay. One is called as the definition of a statutory town. What's the meaning of the word statutory? Anybody knows? Something that's provided by law. Okay, something which has a legal or a strong administrative basis. Okay, so when I use a law, this is a law or a legal basis. We call that as a town. We call those towns as statutory towns. This includes any settlement is an urban area irrespective of its economy, size and society. A settlement is an urban area irrespective of its size, irrespective of its economy or society, if it has municipality, or it has a municipal corporation, or if it is a notified area council, NAC. Any place, any village or any town, whatever, कोई भी जगह है, अगर उसमें म्यूनिसिपैलिटी है या फिर उसमें म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन है या फिर it is declared as an NAC. NAC is what? One type of administration setup called as notified area council. NACs both. NACs, we apply this for smaller towns generally. They have a typical type of administrative setup. अगर ये इनमें से कोई एक है, we call that as an urban location. It doesn't matter whether they have agriculture, no agriculture, whether they have roads, don't have roads, doesn't matter. अगर ये तीन है, or any one of them, it is a urban area. We call these towns as statutory towns. We follow another definition. We call this as the definition of a census town. The census basis of urban identity. We call these as census. So any settlement with more than 75% of its male population in non-agricultural occupation, any settlement with a population density of more than 4,000 per square kilometer, any location with population size of more than 5,000 people. This is based on the number count. Okay. These are data taken from the census. We call these as census towns. Any settlement which has more than 75% of its male population in non-agricultural activities. Okay. So economic basis, this is a town. The density of the place is more than 4,000, 400. Yeah, 4,000. Yeah, it's 4,000, ठीक है. Any, 1 minute, I just slip here. It should be 4,000, 1 minute. Just a minute, please. It should be 4,000, but yeah, it's 400. Correct. It's 400. is 400 per square kilometer, or a population size, yeah, that's a mistake, and a population size of more than 5,000 people. This is a settlement urban according to census data. Okay. And third we add, ये दो तो criteria है, but we also add any settlement can be declared as an urban area if it is classified so by administration and by executive order. Any settlement can be declared as an urban area if it is classified by the administration or by some executive order. So I go to a place where there is no NSE, where there is no municipality, where people are still farmers, where the density is much lesser, yet the administration says we will see this as an urban area. Say I want to, for example, I'm making an airport at Jewar, okay, near Noida. For all practical purpose, Jewar is a village, but in the administration order, because the revenue things linked there in terms of land rate and land price and circle rates, the administration can declare and say, ये हमारे लिए urban area है. Fundamentally, it's like an urban area is an urban area if the administration decides it's an urban area. It's something like, we also have for forest area. So most of us, forest क्या होता है? Forest is area with trees, a forest has wildlife, a forest is natural, okay. But the government can go to an area जहाँ पर tree नहीं है, जहाँ पर wildlife भी नहीं है, where the proper villages established there, the area government can say, oh, this area is under the forest department. So that land में the forest laws will start applying there. The forest is a forest if the government declares it as a forest. And if the government says नहीं tree है तो क्या हुआ? ये हमारे लिए forest area है ही नहीं. This has been one of the debates in Forest Conservation Act amendments, that the government can tweak this if it wants to. So our conclusion is, an urban area or village, if I want to separate and classify it, it is not easy. If I go by the definitions that we have, it doesn't always stand good. That's why we have the basis of statutory towns, we have the basis of census towns, and sometimes the government can also use its own discretion. So conclusion यहाँ पर ये है that the concept of urban or rural settlement, is a relative concept. It depends on how the administration or comparative levels of development appreciate and categorize the settlement. Comparative levels of development categorize, okay, and identify the settlement. So for some, okay, a town may look like a urban area. For others, the town may look like a village because it has very poor levels of development. So village hai ya urban area hai, it is a very subjective thing. You can't be sure about the nature till somebody decides to declare it so. Okay, so that's one discussion. Let's move on. types of rural settlements. ये straight question है. It has been asked in GS also. Give the census basis of towns in India. कुछ सोचना नहीं है. Okay, 4, 5, 6 points, 10 marks के या 5 mark के, you are done. Okay. So in any case, those type of questions are not asked as frequently, but you might always as well know that. Okay. Next is moving on towards what are the types of rural settlements. Okay. So typically what we have done is I've taken up settlements. I've discussed there are rural areas, there are villages, and there are urban areas, there are towns and cities. And I said this differentiation is not a very simple one. Then I am focusing on this कि villages कितने तरह के होते हैं. What are different types of villages we have? So in geography, the types of settlements are on the basis of degree of compactness. The different ways we can classify. Geography mein, this is one of the criteria. We classify the villages on the basis of degree of compactness. Essentially, how close the houses are or how dispersed the houses are. Are the villages very, very close? They're compact villages. Or are they dispersed? They're spread out. Okay, then they are dispersed settlements. We use this. So, ये applicable होता नहीं है generally for urban areas. Urban areas are generally very, very compact. Okay. Villages can be compact or they can be dispersed. So, degree of compactness, broadly there are two types. We have compact settlements and we can have dispersed settlements. और बीच में एक transition type का होता है. We call this as semi-dispersed, or they are a semi-compact. It's like a transition between the two. There are compact settlements and there are dispersed settlements. Okay. So now see, what are the factors? What are the factors that determine the degree of compactness? What factors determine the degree of compactness? This is the possible question, and they have been asking this also. Okay. Why in some cases the settlements are close by, why in some cases they are very, very far apart? The reasons क्या हैं? 1, 2, 3, 4. The first is the type of land. The type of land, its fertility and productivity. Type of land, its fertility and its productivity. One is the type of land. So what happens is, when the land is more fertile, a lot of people come in, and if the people will spread off, there will be less land for agriculture. अगर fertile land है, it attracts farming, agriculture. Fertile land can grow more food. The fertile land will have higher populations. So if people are spreading out and living, फिर क्या होगा? Agriculture के लिए you will not have enough of land. So fertile areas generally have very compact settlements, so that more and more locations or places have agricultural activities possible. Okay. So under the type of land, the first is fertile lands have higher population size and densities, have higher population size and densities. So compact settlements allow for, more land available to agriculture. More land available to agriculture. So India में the northern plains, the deltaic regions, the coastal plains, the northern plains, the deltaic region, now fertile soil है, deltaic regions, the coastal plains, the floodplains of major rivers, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, are all compact settlement areas. ठीक है? Yes. जहां पर फ्लड आती है, नहीं ज्यादा है, इसीलिए इंपैक्ट ज्यादा होता है. Okay. Floods हैं that makes the area vulnerable, but that doesn't discourage people to live there. Okay. And इसीलिए the impact बहुत high होता है. Because the fact तो ये है कि flood हर महीने आता नहीं है. Okay. और ऐसा भी नहीं है कि हर साल ही आ रहा है. Over time it has reduced. So people take it for granted. Okay. एक बार लॉस होगा, कोई बात 2-3 साल खेती तो कर लेंगे हम लोग. Okay. So even if the area has, when your friend is asking me that what if area is flood prone, the flood prone does not discourage people from occupying the land. Assam Plains has very high density. Despite the fact Assam Plain is one of the highest flood prone regions of India. The same is true for deltaic regions, same is true for coastal areas. So flood vulnerability does not discourage people from occupying the land. ठीक है? Yes. No, there are other methods. I skipped that. The mathematical methods, the most common one is called as the neighborhood analysis method. So those mathematical methods, your friend is asking me, what techniques we use for settlement compactness? We use different formula. One formula is also called as your concentration index. Okay, so you skip that for now. ठीक है? Compactness is not on the basis of density. हमें चाहिए how close the houses are. Okay, so continue there. So that is fertile areas. You'll have high densities, whereas marginal land का मतलब होता है land which is not very fertile. Marginal land or land with low productivity and arid regions. Land with low productivity and in arid or dry regions are more dispersed. Okay. Dispersed settlements is also for livestock based occupations. And for forestry. So Priyanshu, answering your question, अगर drought region है and it is low productivity, it has problems of water, those areas people prefer living far away. The reason क्या है देखो, For example, I am a farmer. I need to grow a random number. I need to grow, say, 1 ton of rice for my survival and basic income. Agar fertile land hai, then I can grow 1 ton of rice in a smaller patch. Okay. But if it is a dry region, an area with poor soil, I need more land to grow 1 ton of rice. Because I need more land, okay, the populations are less. So I'll have one farmer here, lot of land, 1 or 2 farmers here, again lot of land, okay, lot of land, 1 farmer here. Because I need more land area for the same amount of output. If I am a farmer into grazing or livestock, cattle, I'm keeping goats, I'm keeping sheep, then again I need a large patch of land for my cattle to graze. So where there is livestock occupation, where there is forestry occupation, where there are dry regions with low productivity, those areas, the villages tend to be more dispersed. Therefore, the settlements of Telangana, Malwa region, Chambal and Rajasthan, and in the hill regions, are generally dispersed settlements. They are generally dispersed settlements. Hill regions have some of the lowest productivities. Hills may be or deserts may be. Therefore, the settlements are far smaller. And called as hamlets, H-A-M-L-E-T-S, hamlets, that have few families living together as a village. That have few families, it can be 10 families, 20 families, that's all. That has a few families living together as a village. So agar hill region hai, hill areas have very poor soils. Hill areas will have more forests. You'll have a small hamlet here, then nothing else, 1 more hamlet here, nothing else, 1 small hamlet here, okay, and otherwise it's all forested, okay, and agriculture, and this village is just 10, 15, 20 houses, that's all. And they will have control over a larger patch of land. They have control over larger patches of land. Okay, so wherever we have low productivity, those areas will have, okay, dispersed settlements. Okay, so that's one criteria, type of land. Number two, the types and the locations of resources like water. The types and locations of resources like water. Okay. So in areas where there is a very important river, there is a very important maybe spring, okay, people tend to come together around that area. For example, settlements based on rivers. For example, settlements based on rivers or lakes, or certain important springs, जो पानी झरता है, important springs, they tend to be compact. Okay. This is more true this is more true if the area in general is arid. If the area in general is dry regions. What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is, imagine this is a dry area. Dry area, settlements are scattered, dispersed. लेकिन यहाँ पर एक important river है. So in general the area has scattered, but near the river, यहाँ पर it will be very, very compact. People will live very closely along the river here. वैसे in general it is dispersed, but यहाँ पर spring है. Around the spring, you'll find villages have concentrated. So if I look at the larger landscape, it is dispersed. If I look in terms of resource, it is more compact. Head down. For example, in the hill regions, the settlements are dispersed in general. The settlements are dispersed in general. But along a spring, or around certain important markets, around springs or around certain important markets, or along important rivers, the settlements can be compact. This India mein, if you look at the Himalayas, they are dispersed. But settlements at the Prayags is what? The confluence where rivers come and meet. At the Prayags, you'll find lot of dense concentration. Like Joshimath is a dense concentration, or Dev Prayag is a dense concentration, or Karna Prayag. For example, in Uttarakhand, the settlements at the confluence of rivers, like Dev Prayag, like Vishnu Prayag or Joshimath, like Dev Prayag. Dev Prayag is what? Confluence of Alaknanda and Bhagirathi. And what is Joshimath? The confluence of Vishnu Ganga and Dhauli Ganga. Right? Vishnu Ganga is the main Alaknanda. अच्छा, ये आपको mnemonic पता है कि नहीं? पता नहीं. You know this mnemonic? Mr. P.K. Nanda is my DJ. याद रहेगा आपको? Yes, sir. Okay. Mr. is Mandakini and Rudra Prayag. Okay. These are the tributaries meeting Alaknanda. So where Mandakini meets Alaknanda, where Pindari meets Alaknanda, it is Karnaprayag. Where Nandakini meets Alaknanda, it is Nandaprayag. Where Dhauli Ganga meets Alaknanda, it is Joshimath, and Joshimath is also called as Vishnu Prayag. Okay, this is your learning for today. And Dev Prayag, I believe, okay, it is Bhagirathi and Alaknanda This is Devprayag. ठीक है? All good? So all the confluence areas, they become dense concentrated. Although Uttarakhand in general is dispersed, but these locations like Rudraprayag, Karnaprayag, Nandaprayag or Vishnuprayag, Joshimath is heavy density. And the reason why we had landslides and all the problems we had there. Okay? So one is the type of land, the second is the type of resources, the third one is cultural and historical factors. The third is, देखो एक geography में one important point is, any discussion we have, you must give an example of a place. You must give some example of a location. Okay, जैसे मैंने बताया, location Northern Plains, location is the deltaic regions, the location is okay hill areas, Uttarakhand, location is confluence. I mentioned some names. Without the names, your geography will be shallow. I need locations wherever you can discuss. Okay, let's move on. The third is cultural and historical factors. And historical factors. The top line on top. Kya line on top? I said tributaries meeting Alaknanda. Priyanshu. So Mandakini is a tributary. Pindari is a tributary. Nandakini is a tributary. Dhauli Ganga is a tributary. Bhagirathi river. This river is Alaknanda. Alaknanda, ये भी Alaknanda है. This is Badrinath. This is Nanda Devi. This is Nandakini river. This is Pindari river. This is Mandakini river. This is Gangotri. Gangotri. And this is Kedarnath. This location is Devprayag. This is Mr. MR. Rudraprayag. This is Karnaprayag. This is Nandaprayag. This is Joshimath or Vishnuprayag. And this main river here is also called as Vishnu Ganga. Vishnu Ganga. This is the main Alaknanda. Okay, and this is your Dhauli Ganga. ठीक है? We can do a quick sketch. Maybe बाद में. Places in maps में you cannot remember till you have drawn the maps. ऐसे otherwise रट्टा मारते रह जाओगे. Gangotri is okay, left of Kedarnath, left of Kedarnath. Okay, you'll by heart. First there is Nanda Devi, then there is Badrinath. You can't handle it. But अगर pictorial है, you can see the diagram and the picture. This is one peak, Gangotri. Gangotri. This is Kedarnath peak, Badrinath peak, Nanda Devi. Nanda Devi peak. From these peaks, the source of the different rivers. और ये वाला actually है the Gangotri glacier. And this is the Gangotri Gaumukh from where we have the origin. Otherwise, ये पूरा area glacier है. Kedarnath is on one of the locations there. Draw a quick sketch. घर जाके आप फिर ठीक कर लेना. So all these locations are the areas of high density population. Devprayag, Rudraprayag, Karnaprayag, Nandaprayag, Joshimath और Vishnuprayag. I can move on now. For 15 major rivers of India. Okay. Find a way to draw the sketches, know the tributaries, know the dams. So यहाँ पर कहीं पर there's a dam called as Tehri Dam. There is a river called as Beel Ganga. This is the Tehri Dam. THRI. ठीक है, I digress. Come back to our discussions. I can move on now. So our discussion was, okay, did I mention that? No. Yeah. Now, locations which have security concerns and settlements at the frontier zones, they will be compact. जहाँ पर you can have conflicts, where you can have wars. Okay, so wherever there are problems of security, so generally the settlements near the passes, say Khyber Pass, Bolan Pass, Zojila Pass, near those passes, the settlements are more compact. Near the passes. Okay. Wherever we have very high tribal conflicts. Okay. So in general, the northeast has dispersed, but जहाँ पर ज़्यादा wars का history रहा है, again people will come together. Okay. So example of passes, I said settlements around Khyber Pass. India में, if you know, a very important pass is the Khandwa Gap. Khandwa Gap near western MP. Satpuras mein hai. You come from MP towards Maharashtra, you must pass Khandwa Gap. It's also called as Burhanpur Pass. Burhanpur Pass. This also has compact settlements. The settlements of high tribal conflicts. जैसे नागालैंड में we have this area called as Dimapur. Dimapur is the largest city of Nagaland. और मणिपुर में इम्फाल. Manipur has Imphal. So most of these areas have been history of conflicts. Okay. They will have compact settlements. Yes. So they live together. They fight back together. Okay. So places which have high diversity of cultures, there they can always have. So generally tribal areas may, some pockets can have these type of settlements. Basically people want to live together to fend off the conflicts. नहीं, buffer zone कौन बनाएगा? Buffer zone is possible only if there is a higher administration, right? A buffer zone भी होगा beyond the settlements. So a village is here. There's a village here. I can have a buffer zone here and one more village here. But यहाँ पर तो compact है ना? यहाँ पर तो compact है ना? और ये buffer zone बनाने के लिए we again need higher authorities. At the village level, we don't have buffer zones. Okay. So, right next side down. With expansion of transportation, with expansion of transportation, road connectivity, with transportation, with road connectivity, with expansion of economic activities, the expansion of economic activities, most of the compact settlements, now have dispersed. Most of the compact settlements have now dispersed. It's like this was a compact settlement, but somebody makes a road. A compact settlement which has a railway line. A compact settlement, lot of land problems. Somebody starts buying land and small settlements come up here. Settlements have expanded along this. Okay. What was compact is now gradually spreading out. Okay. So today the compact settlements, they now tend to spread out because of connectivity, because of land expansions, and because of new economic activities. That's one. Second is dispersed settlements. Dispersed. One is I said because of roads, because of connectivity, because of economic avenues or economic expansion, the compact settlements are now dispersing. Second, I'm saying dispersed settlements are okay, converging towards locations of amenities or centers of development. So imagine this is the hill region. A hill region, the settlements are dispersed. Then the government makes a road here. When the road is made, people start preferring living near the road. The government makes a small market. Now people start living around the market. Government makes some important rural development center. So these villages, they start coming towards this. So either ways, a compact settlement because of reasons can disperse out, or to disperse they can start converging. So now we have more examples of semi-dispersed settlements, which were once compact, now spreading out, or once dispersed, now coming together. Either ways, the common tendencies are now semi-dispersed settlements. इसी में add करो. For example, in hill areas, road constructions, establishing village markets, opening up of village industries, like horticulture centers, has forced dispersed settlements to converge towards early compact centers or early compact settlements. Okay. So either ways, therefore semi-dispersed settlements or semi-compact settlements, semi-dispersed or semi-compact settlements are more common than compact or dispersed settlements. Are more common than compact or dispersed settlements. So put a star mark and a down. देखो ये जो change हो रहा है, the primary reason for change क्या है? The primary reasons are the historical factors associated with developments. Okay, so this could be a question. Say how history has impacted. Head down. The above changes, therefore are associated with. The above changes are therefore associated with the changes in land use patterns. Changes in land use patterns, comma, evolving economy and expanding infrastructure. This is a straight answer. Okay, what are the types of rural settlements? Explain with examples and discuss the factors associated. So this is true for any of the regions I mentioned, any hill region. One of the best examples could be Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is a good example for most of these. Okay. Next is, take a fresh page. I'll just initiate this one. Patterns of settlements. Patterns of settlements. ये बहुत आसान टॉपिक है. And we realize these are among the very common questions of paper 2. Okay. So here, what are the types of settlements? We said rural and urban. Then we discussed what are the types of rural settlements. We said compact, dispersed or semi-dispersed. Now, what are the patterns of settlements? When I say patterns, I always refer to the compact rural ones. Pattern का मतलब होता है in terms of shapes. So a pattern of settlements is on the basis of shapes. Shapes and is applicable for compact rural settlements. ये discussion जो है is applicable for compact rural settlements. Because अगर compact नहीं होगा, वो shape बनेगा नहीं. Okay, if it's not compact, it will look like a disfigured, amorphous shape. Okay, you will not have a proper shape for dispersed. सब फैला हुआ है. Okay, and semi-compact, the shape gets distorted. ठीक है? Yashi, what was that? With population increasing, how compact settlement become dispersed? Because you see, there's less land. If the population is more, beyond a point, the people can't live together. They slowly start acquiring land beyond the village. I think most of us have seen that in our lifetime if we come from a village. Initially, it's a small village, self-contained village. But when the people are more, somebody will buy a land a bit further away from the core village. Somebody will start shifting his farm towards an outer part. So slowly, gradually, the settlement now becomes bigger and becomes more and more dispersed. Okay, so this is on basis of shapes and is applicable for compact settlements. Broadly, we have, okay, the types are, number 1, rectangular shapes and the variants. We have circular shapes and the variants. And the third is amorphous. Amorphous means there is no shape. Rectangular shape and the variants, circular shapes and the variants. Third is amorphous. Sorry, I think PHOUS. Amorphous means it is shapeless. Okay. Rectangular shapes, they can be a grid shape. Rectangular shape can be hollow rectangle, or they can be linear. Grid shapes, hollow rectangles, or linear shape. Circular ones, they can be hollow circular, they can be spiral, is also called as annular, or they can be radial. और एक वेरिएंट है सर्कुलर का, हॉर्स शू शेप. Write the names, then we will discuss separately. Hollow circular, spiral or annular, spiral shape or annular shape, radial shape, and horseshoe. And amorphous is shapeless. This is typical for the semi-dispersed, or it is for the semi-compact. इसमें कोई shape होता नहीं है. Amorphous shapes, semi-dispersed or semi-compact settlements. For rectangular, okay, just the keywords, okay, not a paragraph. Rectangular में, this is the most common type. The most common type. This is popular because a rectangular shaped agricultural lands are most convenient to operate. Because agricultural land जो है वो rectangular है. Okay, they are the most common ones, and these are popular because the rectangular shape of agricultural land are the most convenient shape of land to operate. So if you have a agricultural land rectangle, you can measure the land easily, you can do the plowing very easily, harvesting very easily. Even if the floods may say the bunds are washed away, the bunds can be made back again without much conflicts. Imagine a agricultural land जो amorphous shape है, an agricultural land which has not a typical rectangular shape. This is not preferred. It's difficult to operate on this. That's why in agriculture, the most preferred shape is the rectangular shape. Now in rectangular, if in rectangular shapes, if the roads intersect at right angles, it becomes a grid shape compact settlement. If the roads intersect at right angles, it becomes a grid shape. So this is the large village, and you have got roads like this. The roads intersect at right angles. I have settlements, I have agricultural land, I have settlements, I have agricultural land, settlements here. Maybe settlement is here, some agricultural land here. So this is example of a, either you call this as a grid shape, it's also called as checkerboard pattern. It's like a chessboard. It's also called as checkerboard pattern. I'm looking at the larger village. ये small houses concentration है. Village is थोड़ी all people live at one place. the larger village, ये सब मोहल्ला बन जाएगा, बस्ती बन जाएगा, right? And there is agricultural land here. There could be a small market here. Okay, you go to any village. ऐसा थोड़ी है कि land is continuously occupied by only villages, only houses. The patches of land. Okay, and the roads at right angles, what it does is, it is the most convenient alignment for accessibility. Write down. Roads at right angles is the most convenient alignment for accessibility. Is the most convenient alignment for accessibility. Your friend is asking, how is this a compact settlements? So, हम क्या देख, this is a large area. In large area, this is the village. This village is compact. Inside this village, okay, this is a checkered board. Houses, fields, houses, fields, houses, fields. ये checkered board है, ठीक है? So compare with the larger landscape, ये compact है, and within the compact, the land and the houses are, okay, spread in a chessboard pattern. Yes.
How standard agriculture field like this convenient to settle and standard pattern?
आपका preference क्या है? Agriculture preference है या house बनाना preference है? Agriculture. The ask friend is asking us how the rectangular becomes rectangular. In farming, the preference is कि पहले agriculture land ठीक करो. जहां खेती नहीं कर पाओगे वहां घर बनाते हो. थोड़ी आप घर बनाओगे ना fertile land के बीच में. So you first decide, and this is historical evolution. You first decide कि I will cultivate this land. And then you decide, okay, I'll make a house here. If I make a house here, then maybe I'll decide, okay, let me cultivate this land. Okay, let me make some houses here. Then I'll cultivate this land. Okay, I'll make a house here. In time, when we have fragmentation, okay, land काट के देना है तो हम land काट के rectangular plots दे देते हैं. Then I might have couple of houses here. That's how it develops. So it is agri. So पहला preference क्या है? Agricultural land use होना चाहिए, ठीक है? Because I said no, sowing, transplantation, harvesting, okay, you are weeding, जितने भी operations agriculture में अगर rows में होते हैं वो आसान होता है. If I have a circular plot like this, बहुत मुश्किल होता है to cultivate, to manage. So you'll find something like this eventually. Some of them will do it here, some of them will do it here. Like this, it becomes a confusion. So preferable, अगर size of plot है, preferable is go the rectangular way. ठीक है? Okay. So grid shape pattern. Now what happens is if a village is centered around a temple, centered around the house of a rich zamindar, centered around a grazing plot. If the village is centered around a temple, if the village is centered around the house of a rich zamindar, or centered around a central grazing plot, a common grazing area, gochar area बोलते हैं. In that case, what happens is the central plot is vacant land, and the houses will come up here, and we'll have agricultural land also on this side. The whole thing looks like a rectangle, but central part is vacant. Why? Because this is maybe a large temple here. Maybe a large tank, water tank हो सकता है. It can also be a temple, or it can be large water tank. Okay. Or maybe the house of a influential leader, the zamindar. This is called as hollow rectangle. Hollow rectangles are very common in Deccan Plateau. Hollow rectangles are common in Deccan Plateau, where villages develop around central tanks. They're common in Deccan Plateau, where villages or settlements develop around rectangular tanks, water conservation tanks. Okay. Next one, if settlements expand linearly, if settlements expand linearly along roads, along rivers or canals, along roads, along rivers or canals, they're called as linear settlements. They're called as linear settlements. What I'm saying is, say this is a rectangular village, but imagine this is a river here. So what happens is, because of river, the rectangular village, it keeps on growing along the village, along the river here. It keeps on growing along the river here. And this now looks like a long, elongated, linear village. वैसे ही अगर कोई हाईवे बन गया यहाँ पर, some highway here, along the highway again, you'll have the village expanding. Along the highway, it expands. So it is the rectangular one, modified because it is growing in the one direction or one axis. So along villages, along rivers, along highways, they become linear settlements. There are various shapes of linear settlements. There are various shapes of linear settlements. Depending on how roads intersect, or the confluence of rivers, how roads intersect or how the rivers have confluence. So we have, for example, this is a road. Settlements can develop here linear. This is also linear. This also linear. Linear, it now looks like a cross. We call this as cruciform, like a cross. If this is the road, another road, another road, another road. Linear, linear, ये सब linears हैं. We call this as star patterns. सब linear के variants हैं. They can be cruciform, like a cross. They can be star form, or they can be arrowhead. So imagine this is a river. It's another river. They both have merged. They are merged. So settlements was here. Settlement was here. They all have merged here. It looks like a head of an arrow. We call this as arrowhead. Settlements can be cruciform settlements. Settlements can be star-shaped settlements, or they can be arrowhead settlements. इसको आप क्या बोलोगे? ये सेटलमेंट जो था इसको क्या बोलोगे शेप? कौन सा? ये वाला. ये रेक्टेंगुलर था ना, ये वाला. ये रेक्टेंगुलर था, इसका एक्सपेंशन हुआ. And ultimately they will merge into arrowhead. So या तो रेक्टेंगुलर का वेरिएंट बोल लो या फिर लीनियर का बोल लो, उसी से बन रहा है. It starts along this. It starts along this rectangular. It becomes rectangular linear, और फिर ये बीच का एरिया भी भर जाएगा. So the doab areas, add करो. This is very common in the doab areas or prayags. The very common in the doab. The land between two rivers? In the Doab regions or at the Prayag's confluence? Okay, fine. That's for today. And now listen, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we try to have 15 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on the topic. We have case studies. The new students are not aware of this. It's a choice. You want to attend, you want to attend, that's your choice. But my recommendation is do these sessions. You'll require case studies are like examples with maps, details, discussions. Okay. So if you can sit back, do the session. And the older students, I will again continue at 3 o'clock today. I must finish off some topics of population geography. I don't want to keep it pending too much. Okay? So new guys, you go back and revise. Abhi aap kitab khologe nahi, I'll let you know when you will open the books. Tomorrow, yeah, listen. Tomorrow it'd be nice if you can bring your human geography Majid Hussain to class, the textbook. Okay, that's for today. We continue tomorrow. The old ones stay back. Ragini on the dashboard, but not immediately. Okay, towards the evening or tomorrow tak, 24 hours is the time we take. The notes will be uploaded.